Okay. I'll share my slides. Hello, is my voice is audible, sir, or is it breaking?
No, it's audible. The slide is
Yeah.
already shared. Only thing is you have to make it PowerPoint slideshow. That's all.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you. Yeah, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Arul Shanti, Department of Community Health Nursing, working in Ramaya Institute of Nursing Education and Research. So I welcome all the participants and attendees, HODs of different departments, and staff nurses, faculties, teachers, and my dear friends. A special thanks to Principal Ma'am for giving me this opportunity to present this topic. Okay, so let's go on to the topic. That is COVID-19 vaccine, nurses' answer to public queries. Okay, so what are our expectations on today's topic or today's webinar? What are we looking into this topic? So I have put under 3 headings: why, who, and where. Why? Why this topic? The topic is the need of the hour. Yes, because we know the India has started its vaccination drive from this year, Jan 16, 2021. And whom? Who are the people those who are going to benefit it? Is about all the healthcare workers, the nurses, the frontline workers, those who are involved in this vaccination drive. Where? Where is heading to? What is heading to? The people, all those who are being posted under vaccination duty, not now, either it could be the final year students or any person, one who is being put under vaccination duty. What are some of the things, the questions, the queries, or the doubts that we come across and we face, and how are we going to give answer to them? So all about the webinar is about nurses' answer to patient queries. So my talk is going to be the slides are visible? Yeah. So my talk is going to be based on these topics about the vaccine. What are the vaccines that got licensed in India? And what about its safety, its efficacy, because it has come a very short period of time. And who will be vaccinated? The criteria or the eligibility, will I get vaccinated, or is there any contraindication to get vaccinated, and the entire vaccination process, that is the registration, where to log in, how to get registered, what are the things to be given at the site of vaccination time, the documentation, and the next is what to expect before vaccination. Are there some of the questions before vaccination that we could think about? I'm COVID positive or suspected case, or 2 vaccines are there, which one to take, or what are some of the queries that you have before vaccination? And what to expect during vaccination or during the vaccination site? What in case if I get some side effects? Where do I head to? Whom to look upon? And what to expect after vaccination? How long I will be having an immunity when I take vaccine? Or how much dose should I take? How far this immunity would work? So all sort of questions, the answers that I'm going to give, so it would be helpful, informative, and as well as it would empower you to work in wherever you have been put in under the vaccination duty. So firstly, we'll go about the vaccine. Yes. So the first question, which COVID-19 vaccines are licensed in India? So I would keep my presentation short and brief, as well as I would request the students to answer, to be very quick to put your answers in the chat box. So it would be of an interactive session. Students, do you have any answers? Which COVID-19 vaccines are licensed in India? Okay, before that, how many people have we vaccinated in India? more than telling like how many people, the number of doses that we have administered so far under national-wide vaccination drive. So this is just an extra information what we got from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. According to yesterday's report, it is 25.48 crore vaccination dose has been administered in India. So which COVID-19 vaccines are licensed in India? I'm going to wait. If you could answer, I'll take it up. Otherwise, I'll move forward. So currently, you might have learned so far there was 2 vaccination that received an approval as an emergency use authorization. But from this July, the one more vaccine has been given an emergency use authorization. So totally there are 3 that currently we are using is about, Covishield, Covaxin, as well as Sputnik. So these are the 3 vaccines. So hope you all know Covishield. Yes, it is Oxford AstraZeneca, manufactured through Serum Institute of India. And Covaxin, Bharat Biotech. Sputnik V is a Russian imported vaccine. Yes, they have given for the manufacturer Dr. Reddy's Lab, Hyderabad. So currently these 3 vaccines, what I'm talking about in India, across the globe, nearly we have 9 vaccines that got approval and license, which are in the pipeline, and they are still under the clinical trial. So this is about the current state in India. So the second one, will the vaccine be safe as it is being tested and introduced in a very short span of time? Yes, we all know, because any vaccine to develop, it would take after its safety, efficacy, at least 10 to 15 years, but we know how COVID vaccine came within a very short span of time. It's mainly because there was clinical trials that was happening parallelly, phase 1, phase 2, as well as phase 3 clinical trial. And after all the safety check, efficacy, and the quality check, it's been introduced. So the vaccine has been tested within a short period of time, but after its efficacy, the license has been given and people are taking vaccine. Yes. Next question. Out of the multiple vaccine available, how is one or more vaccines chosen for administration? Yes. Simultaneously, there are more vaccines are being chosen for administration, but they are looking into the point of only for its safety as well as the efficacy check. Then only it is being used in our country. Okay, so the next question is very important. Is it mandatory to take the vaccine? Is it mandatory to take the vaccine? Anybody, students? It's absolutely, it's volunteer. The choice is volunteer. The people have their rights to take vaccine. If they don't want, there is nobody is going to force, but it is better to protect oneself against the disease and to limit the spread to the family, neighbors, as well as the friends. Okay, so there's nobody to to push you to take the vaccine. It's absolutely voluntary basis. Do I have a choice of vaccine that I receive? As of now, both based on the potential availability as well as the distribution plan in India, the vaccination of our choice is not available. But based on the centers, the availability of the vaccine, what the people are giving, based on that, we will be able to choose whether it is Covaxin or Covishield. Okay, so the next. Let me move on to the next slide. Okay. How many doses of vaccine? How many doses of vaccine should I receive and at what interval of time? I hope you all know it's 2 doses that we take. So the Covishield from first dose to and second dose, you should have an interval of 12 to 16 weeks, that is 84 to 112 days. And the second is Covaxin. Covaxin from first dose to second dose, the interval should be 28 to 42 days. So this is about the dosage as well as the interval. Yeah. Yeah, Sputnik also it's about 28 days from first dose to second dose. Yes. Okay. How is the cold chain being maintained during storage and transportation of the vaccine? So the cold chain maintained during the storage as well as the transportation of the vaccine, we are maintaining 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. And as India runs a big immunization program, nearly there are 29,000 cold chain spots are being there. And so it is easy for us to maintain in that. And another question is, once we open the vial, while at the vaccination center, how far can we keep it or how long can we keep it? So once we open the vial, it should be nearly 4 hours or within 4 hours, the vial has to complete all its dosage. Do I need to pay for the vaccine? Pay for the vaccine because we know that the vaccines are provided free of cost in the government setup and private setup. People do pay money and it depends upon the center where you take the vaccine. Okay. So what in case if I refuse the vaccine now, will be able to take it later? At the moment, vaccine rollout is only through the government source. So as and when the vaccine becomes available, even in the private market, the option would be able to that you can opt for whichever the vaccine you would. So this is regarding about the. So the second objective that we are going to look into the another topic, who will get the vaccine? Okay. Who will get the vaccine or the eligibility criteria? So will everyone need to get vaccine at the same time or will everyone will take the vaccinated at simultaneously? So the option is the government of India has developed a planned phase. Okay. What happens in the planned phase? During the initial phase when it started in Jan 16, 2021, first group they have prioritized as an healthcare worker as well as the frontline workers. So the vaccine was given to the priority group, those who are high risk people. Later, it was brought down in the second phase or in the second group for the people, those who were above 60 years of an age. So which started in the month of March 1st. Later, they brought it for the third group, stating the people, those who are from 45 years to 59 years of an age, including the people, those who are comorbid condition, would be given the vaccination. And this began in the month of April. And the next, it began in the month of May for the people, those who are above 18 years of an age can be vaccinated. So this is the process of how people get vaccinated. So how will I know if I am eligible for vaccination? So whatever we have spoken about the previous question, either you fall in any one of the category, either it could be a healthcare worker or a frontline worker, or people those who are above 60 years of an age, or 45 to 59, or above 18 years of an age. So if I have COVID-19 infection that is very active during the time that my vaccination is due, can I still be vaccinated? Actually, the answer is when the people are COVID-19 infection that is very active, the person should defer vaccination for 3 months. So he can get his vaccination after his symptoms resolve. Okay, so at least 90 days gap should be there. What in case of unsuspected? Even if the person is suspected, the person should not come for the vaccination center until he gets his RT-PCR report negative. It is in order to reduce the transmit of an infection in the vaccination center. So this is for the confirmed as well as the suspected people. So if I had COVID-19 infection and was treated, that means it is a past. Why should I receive the vaccine? Any answer? Absolutely fine. If the person is having COVID-19 infection as a past and he's been treated, why should I receive vaccination? Even if the person has a past history of COVID-19 infection, we have to advise them to take vaccination because it would develop a strong immune response. At least the person, what he has acquired as a natural antibodies, it would sustain in the body for at least for 3 months. So the person have to get COVID-19 vaccination, even if he has a past history of COVID-19 infection. Okay, so what are the contraindication for COVID-19 vaccination? The contraindication is if the people or the person, the individual has an history of any anaphylactic reaction or allergic reaction to any previous dose of COVID-19 vaccine, then the person has to report it to the vaccinator in the vaccination site, or if the medical officer, if the person is in any of the rural particular place. Immediate or delay onset of anaphylaxis as well as any allergic reaction to vaccines or injectable therapies or any pharmaceutical products or food items. So these people have to consult their doctor and then only they need to get vaccinated. So there is an other temporary contraindication or the provisional contraindication. Persons who are having an active symptoms of COVID infection, then the COVID vaccination has to be deferred for 3 months. Only after recovery, we would ask them to take it. And in case, even if the person is positive, he has got admitted and he's been administered with any sort of a monoclonal antibiotics or any of the convalescent plasma, even such people, temporary it is contraindicated, but once the person has recovered, yes, he can take vaccination. And any people, those who are acutely unwell or hospitalized, it is with or without intensive care unit patients due to any sort of an illness, it is only temporary contraindicated only during that period of time. Later, they can get vaccinated, but they have to inform this at the vaccination center if there are doctors, those who are available, or the medical officer, whichever spot they are getting vaccinated. Either it could be PHC or private hospital or government hospital. So the health ministry has advised a caution in vaccinating a person with a history of a bleeding or any coagulation disorder. So such person can take vaccination. So there are few bleeding disorders like hemophilia. So these people can take vaccine under the supervision of their treating physician. And the sometimes those who are admitted in the hospital, say for an ICU, and they have a bleeding problems or they have developed a bleeding problems, then they should delay the vaccination until they discharge. And plus they have to confirm it with their physician before they could take the vaccination. And people, those who are with any sort of cardiac issues or brain disorders, or they have put on any of the blood thinners like aspirin and antiplatelet drugs, they also continue to take their medicines and can have their vaccines. And it says that vaccines are absolutely safe for those people. Okay, so the next question, the health advisory also states that those with any sort of an immunity issues should be cautious about taking the vaccine. So the answer could be there can be two immune issues. Either the person is immunosuppression due to any sort of a disease such as AIDS, and people who are on immunosuppressant drugs like anti-cancer drugs or on steroids, etc. Even an immunodeficiency, the people who suffer from some defects in the body's protective system, such as congenital immunodeficiency. Currently, whatever the available COVID-19 vaccines do not have any live virus, and therefore they say that individuals with immune issues also can have the vaccine safely. So after spoken about having certain queries about the vaccination, then can get the vaccine, or the eligible people, or the criteria. I have a suspected or a confirmed COVID-19 vaccine. Is there any immunosuppressant person can take, or having crossed through all these things, now comes to the vaccination registration. What are some of the queries that we might go through at the vaccination center? So it starts from where should I register for the vaccination, or where can I get the vaccine from? So vaccine registration can happen in the CoWIN portal. So www.cowin.gov.in. People can register in Aarogya Setu also. So the vaccination where can get it is from two sources. It can be from government as well as even from the private sector. And they also call it as a COVID vaccination center. So the people must register in this portal, and after registration, they can proceed for the other things. Can a person get the COVID-19 vaccine without registration? The answer is no. Registration is must. So it is advised to register at the vaccination site, or they can register, take an appointment, then they can go to the vaccination site. But the answer is yes, the person has to register. Without register, they are not supposed to. That acts as a verification also. If a person is not able to produce photo ID at the session site, whether he or she can be vaccinated or not. No, photo ID is a must. It is both for the registration plus the verification of the beneficiaries to identify that the right person is intended, or the right person or the intended person is getting vaccinated or what. So registration is must. What in case if I cannot register? What are the other options? They nearby health facilities where they can go and they can opt for. Even if the person have any problem in the registration, people go to the on-site for the registration. There is something called walk-in, and people are not entertaining. If you see in any sort of an guidelines, it says that the person have to register, then go to the vaccination center. But there is a place where people help out, walk-in at the vaccination center, plus people register that. What in case if the people don't have smartphone where they cannot register? So what about those people? Through one phone number, 4 people can register. So the government has made certain kind of a facility where people, those who are in a place where they cannot register, where through one mobile phone, another people can register along with them. So what documents are required for registration of an eligible beneficiary? So most of you would have heard people bringing Aadhaar card, but there are so many other things. Aadhaar card, driving license, voter ID, PAN card, and official identity cards issued by the MPs, MLAs, and health insurance smart card issued under the scheme of Ministry of Labour, passport, MNREGA, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, job card we can take, smart card which is being issued by RGI under NPR, and other pension documents along with the photograph, they can take it, passbooks with photograph, they can use it, and other service identity cards along with the photographs that are being issued by central or state can also be used. Okay, how will the beneficiary receive the information about due date of vaccination? So what happens once we register, there comes an immediate notification as an SMS once the person register. So the due date, place, and the timing about the slots, the beneficiaries or the recipient one who want to get vaccinated would receive the information only in the registered mobile number. I have changed the mobile number that I used to register for the vaccine. What should I do? So in such condition, it is advised the person to retain the same mobile number because it might use for further any contact, because whatever the information that the person has put it at the time of registration, the person would get time to time all the SMS in the registered mobile number. So it is better to get the person would retain the same number. Will I get any certificate that I am vaccinated? Definitely, after the first dose of vaccination, the person can go back to the CoWIN portal under the register. The individual can enter the mobile number and enter the OTP number. We get the provisional certificate. The provisional certificate says the name, the type of the vaccine the person has taken, the date, the healthcare worker one who has administered the vaccine, plus the due date for the next vaccine. If the person has completed the entire schedule, that is 2 doses of vaccine the person has taken, then the person would get the complete certificate the person has completed the vaccination. So this would act as a proof in future when the person wants to travel for any of the international or in terms of a social gathering or mass gathering. So availability of the certificate provisions is also there, and we can go back and check in the COVID. So this is what happens when the person registers and how the process goes on, the entire process of the vaccination. First starts at the registration at the CoWIN using a valid photo ID. After that, the second step, the person would receive the SMS. That is, following registration, the beneficiaries would receive the SMS message. So the first SMS would be generated based on the confirmation of the registration. Second SMS would be generated mentioning the date, time, and the place of the vaccination. The person has a complete freedom to choose the place of vaccination, either online or after registration, the person can walk in. On site also, there is a provision. Third SMS will be generated after the first dose of vaccination with the due date when is for the next vaccine. And the fourth SMS the person would get when he has completed the second dose of vaccination. Along with that, he might get the digital certificate. So the third step after the person has registered and got the SMS, and the next would be the person would go at the vaccination officer site for checking the beneficiaries, the identity, that is the photo ID verification would take place. And next, where the authenticate verified documents, all that the person has put in CoWIN, so would be verified. And the fifth place would be where the person will get vaccinated, the beneficiary would get vaccinated. And following the vaccination, the person has to wait for 30 minutes for the observation to see if there is any sort of an anaphylaxis reaction or any of the side effects has happened. And the seventh vaccination officer to ensure the 30 minutes waiting period over, where they monitor, guiding all the including the non-registered people. And the eighth step, the person would come for the second dose of vaccination in the due time as per the person who has received whatever in the SMS, the due date. So what to expect before vaccination? So what are the questions that the people might have in their mind or they might expect before vaccination? Can I get quick answer for this? Which vaccine is better between Covishield or Covaxin? There is no head-to-head comparison between two vaccines. One cannot choose one over the other. Both would work fine in preventing the disease. Second, preventing from person to going to a severity state of a disease. And thirdly, if we could think into the long term, preventing even the death of an elderly people. So both would work. So the second, what medication should be avoided before taking COVID-19 vaccine and for how long should I avoid? Currently, there is no such instruction given. One can take one's own regular medication uninterruptedly. If the person has any concern, then the beneficiary can visit the vaccinator, or the person can visit his own physician and ask all his queries regarding his regular medication the person is taking. And is the vaccine contraindicated in person with chronic disease? As I've already spoken regarding this, chronic disease and comorbidities, for example, cardiac issues or neurological disorder, pulmonary, or any sort of a malignancy, renal or metabolic. it is not contraindicated. So the maximum benefit the person would get if the person get vaccinated, it will only reduce the risk of severe COVID-19 infection, disease, as well as the death. So it is recommended even for the people, even they have any comorbidities condition also, they can take vaccination. If I suffer from hypertension, diabetes, or any sort of a kidney disease, heart disease, or lipid disorder, can I safely take this vaccine? Yes. The person with one or more morbid condition are considered to be as a high risk people. The maximum benefit that the person can get from this COVID-19 vaccine is for those who have such comorbidities condition. Okay. So, can I get COVID-19 infection because of vaccination? Most of the people have, I took COVID-19 vaccine, then I got to be infected person. Actually, the answer is no. All COVID-19 vaccines use either inactivated virus or its parts or its genes. Hence, infection will not occur due to the vaccination. If I get the vaccine, will I be protected from getting COVID-19? The possibility of this answer is yes. The longevity of the immune response, or at the moment what the person has taken the vaccine, we cannot say how long will the person be protected. The trial is happening, at least minimum it takes 1 or 2 years to know its efficacy. So the answer would be yes. The answer would be yes. Presently, yeah, the person can get protected, but how long? Yes, studies should take place, and then only based on the efficacy or the effectiveness, we will be able to rule out. What happens during at the vaccination site? What are some of the expected immediate or delayed side effects of COVID vaccine? These are some of the side effects can expect, not for everybody, from Covishield as well as Covaxin. Some mild symptoms may occur like pain at the injection site or tenderness or headache, fatigue, myalgia, pyrexia, chills, and nausea. And Covaxin also has similar mild symptoms, might occur injection site pain or headache, fatigue, fever, body ache, abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, dizziness, having giddiness, tremor, sweating, cold, cough, and injection site swelling. But so far, there's no other vaccine-related serious adverse effects have been reported. Whom should I contact in case of side effects from vaccination? If the person is still at the vaccination site, there are people to look into, vaccinator officer, or if the person, if he's from rural side, medical officer, the nurses, and other people. If the person has gone back home and if he wants to try to contact somebody, if he get any of the side effects, there is an helpline number, a toll-free number where the person can call up, technical helpline number, and there's an email, and the person also can contact the vaccination center where the person has taken vaccine. So this is a chart given by WHO how to monitor and report COVID-19 vaccine side effects. So we know that healthcare worker plays a very key role in ensuring the continued safety of the COVID-19 vaccine. First, when the person comes at the vaccination center, first question, the step one is to ask if the person has any previous or has any allergic reaction to the vaccine. So if yes, then the person has to refer to an allergic specialist or any healthcare provider who will recommend what should be the next step. This would be applicable only if the person is has developed any sort of an allergic reaction due to the previous vaccine. The second step, it is to assess. The first one is to ask. The second is to assess. What to assess? Assess his health or any medical conditions has been listed below. In case of a person has these conditions, maybe the person is pregnant or compromised immune system, or the person has severe fragility among older persons. So this we have to assess. Then the third step would be to communicate if the person develops any sort of side effects after vaccination, which indicate that a person's body is building protection to COVID-19. So common side effects would be arm sore or mild fever, tenderness or headache or joint aches. Then the fifth step, after vaccinating, we would observe the person for 15 to half an hour, 15 minutes to half an hour. We will tell them to report if the person has got any sort of a severe reaction. So observe people with a past vaccine allergy if the person has during that half an hour. And the last step would be inform the immediate supervisor if the person have developed any severe reaction or an unexpected complication during the observation period. So what happens, all these things, all this would be monitored and has to be recorded. That is adverse events following immunization form, where we would record everything. So extremely rare of severe health reactions to be directly caused by the vaccination. This has to be reported, and investigating all these adverse effects, making sure that the COVID-19 vaccine would continue. So what happens in case if it is one or two individuals? Okay, what in case if it happens to a mass or group of people, has some or the other side effects at the vaccination site? Then it has to be informed to the district immunization officer, the branch of the people, one who is head of looking into all this side effects that are developed due to this vaccination. So I have put this slide because if the final year students, after finishing this, if they work in the vaccination center, what would be their role in the vaccination? For a minor kind of vaccination, so for a minor side effect, say for example, fever, pain or swelling at the injection site, what would they do? If such case they develop, that is from mild to moderate fever, local pain or swelling at an injection site, such things are expected following COVID-19 vaccination. So in those cases that all this should subside within 2 to 3 days. And beneficiaries might also be asked to take paracetamol within minimum interval of 4 hours from first dose to the second dose. If fever or pain at the injection site or the swelling, if it persists beyond 2 to 3 days, then the beneficiaries might inform to the vaccinators at the respective area, or they might consult the doctor for any of the further management. So all the minor, okay, that is adverse effect following immunization must be reported into the COVID, as well as they have to maintain a register and they have to write it. So in case of a serious or in case of a severe anaphylaxis reaction, so as per the age of the patient, they will administer 1 dose of injection adrenaline by deep muscular route. So don't panic, but reassure the patient, parents, as well as the relatives. Never leave the person alone. Immediately, we need to arrange an ambulance and making sure that we will transport the person to any of the nearest management center, either to community health center or district hospitals, or if it's a private hospital, definitely there would be a provision for ICU beds. Immediately inform the medical officer or doctor to telephonically, so that all the necessary details has been passed on and they could get ready with the following procedures. Record all the anaphylaxis reaction, both even if it is of unsuspected or even if it is unconfirmed, in the immunization card in a block letter, because some of the private hospital, they get the immunization card where they could write, because when the person comes for the next time or for the second dose of the COVID vaccine, where if you would have written, it stands as a reference for them to take caution when to immunize the person for the second dose. So future vaccination should be given in a hospital setting for such people, a hospital setting with adrenaline and with other resuscitative equipments which are available at hand. Only for the people, those who are suspect to have very serious or severe anaphylaxis reaction. The case details should also be entered, all this into the COVID portal, and it has to be recorded as well as it has to be reported to a medical officer or to the district immunization officer. So now What to expect after vaccination? So I have taken the vaccination, either first dose or the second dose. What are some of the questions that we have in our mind? So, do I need to use the mask or any other COVID-19 appropriate precautions after receiving the vaccination? So, what would be the right answer? Yes, it is absolutely necessary that everyone who receives the COVID-19 vaccine have to follow the COVID-19 appropriate behaviors. Okay, continue to wear mask, maintain social distancing, continue to wash hands with soap and water or hand sanitizer, and follow the cough or sneezing etiquette, and avoid crowded places. You can move in a well ventilated environment, and disposing of a tissue in a safely place. Avoid nose, mouth, as well as eye touching, and could disinfect the surfaces that whatever we come in contact with. Okay, so the next question, how long I will remain protected after vaccination? How long? The duration of protection is yet to be established. The longevity of the immune response in a vaccinated individual is yet to be determined, and ongoing trials should provide us the efficacy data in 1 or 2 years. So the next question is, in how many days will the vaccine create an adequate immune response as well as the protection? Very important, where so many people ask, when would the antibodies develop after taking the second dose of a vaccination? So it is recommended that protective level of antibodies would generally develop 2 weeks after receiving the second dosage of COVID-19 vaccine. So 2 to 3 weeks after completion of vaccination means they have to complete 2 doses of vaccination, where the people would acquire at least adequate immune response. Does vaccination protect me against new strainer or mutated virus of SARS-CoV-2? Based on the available data, yes, the body responds to vaccination by making more than one type of antibodies to various parts of a virus, say for example, including spike protein. So therefore, all vaccines are expected to provide a reasonable amount of protection against the mutated virus. Okay. So is it important for me to receive the same vaccine during the second dose? The answer is yes, as the vaccines available are not interchangeable. So currently, whatever the person is used for the first vaccine dose, similarly, the person has to receive the second dose, the same vaccine. Even the COVID portal would also help and ensure that everyone receives the same vaccine that the person has taken during the first dose. Does this vaccine provide herd immunity? When the increasing number of people are getting vaccinated in the community, indirect protection through herd immunity would develop. Again, it depends upon the percentage of the people, those who are immune, in order to achieve the herd immunity. Can I get vaccinated with second dose in a different state or in a different district due to various reasons? Yes, the person can get vaccinated the second dose in a different state or the district, but one thing, making sure that the person would get the vaccine that he has taken during the first dose. So all the arrangements has to be taken that would not deviate the same vaccine. When can I join back work after vaccination? So many people ask at the vaccination site, can I join today or tomorrow, or shall I take 2 days of off and things like that? If the person doesn't have any sort of side effects, the person can immediately leave the session site and can join back to the workplace. So there is no restriction. Okay, another important question where people ask at the vaccination site, I think most of the people, those who have worked also would come across like, can I take bath on the same day of the vaccination? Is there any food restriction to pre and post vaccination? Or I have periods, is it okay to take vaccine? Can I plan for pregnancy after first shot of vaccine, or should I plan for pregnancy after second shot of vaccine? So the answer is, can I take bath on the same day of vaccination? There is no such guidelines for that, but what we are trying is like the person should not massage the part where he has taken the vaccination. Other than that, it doesn't have any influence in acting or impairing. So the person better to take bath the next day. Is there any food restriction? Many of the experts, nutritionists have given free as well as the post-vaccination what to take, but there is no such study related, scientific research related to the restriction of the food, or can I take a non-veg post-vaccination or pre-vaccination. Is absolutely fine, and we haven't come across any sort or cases where the vaccine has interfered with the consumption of the food. And I have periods, is it okay to take vaccine? Absolutely fine. People those who have taken have periods also have taken the vaccination. And regarding the pregnancy, on that day, Sujini ma'am also told even the antenatal mother can take the vaccination, but they have to go back to their consultant, then they can refer back to the vaccination center. Lactation mother, yes, lactation mother also can take vaccination. Seems to be like it's not a live virus, so they can take, but it's always left to the mother. Plus, they have to consult, and better they take it based on conviction. Okay, things to avoid. Should I avoid alcohol after receiving the COVID-19 vaccination? None of the top advisory or regulatory bodies have given any directives or contraindication for the people, those who consume alcohol, or neither nor any of the vaccine manufacturer have given guidelines both for the people those who consume alcohol as well as the smoker. But the expert also says that there is no evidence of alcohol impairing the effectiveness of the vaccine, but it's better to avoid at least for 24 hours. There are so many experts who are also given because it would weaken the immune system, both even for the smokers also. And smokers, because it says that they will also reduce the immune response, and they also come under the high risk category of the people. So both the category of people need to get vaccinated, but whether alcohol or smoking is impairing the effectiveness of the vaccine is not to be ruled out anyway, or the instruction or the guidelines has not met. Vaccination, empty stomach. Okay, should I get vaccinated in the empty stomach or should I eat? The expert says it is better the person would eat a well-balanced diet and get hydrated and come. What happens if they get vaccination at the empty stomach? As soon as we give vaccination, the person might get giddiness or the person might become weaker. It also many cases has also been reported in Maharashtra. The people, those who got vaccinated in the empty stomach, they had an anxiety, panicking, they had giddiness, they went into bradycardia. And what happens after vaccination? As soon as after vaccination you eat, it might also lead to an acidity. And related to caffeinated beverages, people drink tea, coffee, and get vaccinated, and also forced also. So even for that, we don't have a proper guidelines, but seems to be they don't have impairing the effectiveness of any vaccine. So this is what we are looking at, how the vaccination goes to work. So if you see at the top portion, all the black ones are not infected, or a bit of orange one are infected, but they have mild symptoms, and the red one are severely infected. So what happens when the congregation or the people, when they moved to, so if you see at the left-hand side, the people no vaccine, even in that no vaccine category, there are mild, there are severe, and also the people, those who are not infected. And if you could look at the center, the disease is going to completely block because most of the people are non-infected. It might be they might have got immunized and only mild symptoms are there. So mild symptoms, not to get worried because most of the herd immunity would have already developed. And we are looking at the stage on my right hand side left. There is a complete transmission as well as disease. That means complete blockage of the transmission of the disease, or what I could say, there is the chain of transmission is. So we are looking at the point of where there is no chance for the disease to get transmitted. So this is what happens in the community when we are with 5 or 10 group of people who is not infected, who has mild symptoms, or the people, those who have severe diseases. Yeah, I have come to my last slide and I would like to give a pause over here. Can you see the two pictures over the slides? What does this show? Two sink. There are two sides water are pouring out. One person is trying to close the tap. Another person is not closing the tap, but he is trying to clean, mop. Ultimately, what are we looking into this is the COVID infection seems to be the water that is gushing out of the tap. Actually preventing the transmission of the diseases, plus we are reducing the spread of diseases. So this is what I would like to continue of my topic. Yes, I have done, and I leave the platform. If you have any queries, questions, yes, you can drop it in the chat box. You can place your question in the chat box or in the question and answer session. Hello, yes, sir. Okay. I've not seen any question in the chat box, neither under Q&A. Okay, if not, I'm going to conclude. Thank you once again. I would like to thank Principal Ma'am for giving me the opportunity, and thank you all for patient listening. And I hope this would be informative and it would benefit you wherever you are working in your near future in the vaccination center. Thank you all.